Is the grass really greener in a different market? This is a very common question that people ask themselves in their own mind over and over as their business scales. A couple of different reasons. They're struggling today in their own business and they start thinking maybe it's easier in a different market, less competition, more deals, better cash flow numbers. They may have better workers there as far as contractors, and here in my market, there's nobody left because all our contractors left here. So people start to draw up narratives of unknowns and they start to think, is the grass greener? Now, not always is that the case. Some people are tapped out in their current market where they're marketing to everybody in their local town or marketing to everybody in their area, and they're doing very well, doing a lot of deals, but they've kind of gone like this and hit a ceiling. So they're thinking the only way to expand their business is to reach out into other markets and duplicate what they're doing here. Now, should you go into another market or not? Yes and no. A lot of opportunity in other markets? I don't know. You're gonna find out if you go in there. Now, what you're gonna come across is a lot of hurdles and things that you're probably not expecting as you go into another market. And so sometimes it's not the best idea. Now, some people do it and pull it off and it's a great idea. But here's some of the things you're gonna have to think about when you do this, okay? Number one, analyzing the new market. One of the reasons why your business is growing slow when you start out in a new business or a new industry is you're learning your local climate. For example, an investor here, where you're locally at, say Dallas-Fort Worth, where I'm at, you're having to figure out an entire metroplex, all the different cities and subregions and secondary markets and tertiary markets outside the main heart of the city. And that's a lot of information, and you're gonna have to learn this over time. And it can take years, sometimes in a big market, it could take 5 to 10 years really to understand it very, very well. So when you see another market across, halfway across the country, and you're looking at numbers on paper, you say, wow, this looks amazing. Now, here's the things that you're not seeing. You're not seeing that there's 30+% eviction rates. So you're taking what you see here today on pen and paper, all the knowledge you built in your local market, and you're taking what you've known here and applying it to different markets. You may not see that jobs are leaving left and right. You may not see that it takes 2 to 3 months to sell a rehab there, where in here in your market it's hot, which is why there's not a lot of deals. Where in another market where it seems like there's more deals, you don't see that carrying costs are a lot longer on flips, and you may miscalculate your numbers. So there's a lot more analyzing a market, and then when it's an unknown market, you're gonna make a lot more mistakes. And when you make a mistake that's far away from you, it's a lot more difficult to fix it. So it's just something that you need to study a little bit more before you start pulling the trigger, at least know all the data points that could really affect your business. Now, raising money. This is a big one as well. Just because you have a lender here in your local market, money can be easy here in a local market. When you go to another market, they may not lend to you. Now, the reason why a lot of lenders lend in their own market is because they know their own market, number one. Now, if you take that same private money lender and ask them to lend in Ohio and you're in Texas, they're probably gonna say no because they don't know the market. You're gonna say, well, look at these numbers, the numbers look great. And they're gonna say, well, I'm just not familiar with it, it's not for me. Now, some of y'all are saying, well, I can go get a hard money lender, and you can, but your success in this business has a lot to do with the type of money that you raise. A private money lender, no points up, funding the whole rehab up front, getting all your rehab money with no draws. Guys, there's a lot of different types of lenders out there as compared to a hard money lender that's really riding you and on top of you, wants points up front, wants to release that rehab draw, have inspections. So you can find lenders, it's just gonna be tougher, and you're not gonna find the ones that you want unless it's gonna take a little bit more time and effort to do so, like you did originally finding your first lenders in your own market. So something to keep in mind. Number two, new systems and new network. You're going to have to find brand new systems and brand new networks, meaning you're gonna have to find new title companies, you're gonna have to find new inspectors, people that can do your insurance in these other markets. You're gonna have to have a different way of managing the way you turn these properties over, the way you show these properties. When you're not directly located where you can drive to property, guys, it opens up a world of hurt and opens a lot more logistical issues and headaches. A lot of people don't calculate this in, how much extra time they're gonna have to do. So let's say you're gonna do a deal here in your own market and make 10 grand. Well, that same deal you think you can make 15 grand on in another market. You need to calculate your time into the deal, because if you have to put a lot more time in, when you average in your time, this may actually be less money than what you thought on paper because your cost of your time. So just things to think about, guys, as you kind of plan to go into a different market, just something to think about and kind of brainstorm on and strategize with to kind of put these into your calculations. 4, property stabilization. This is the big one. Contractors are tough to get, especially if you're moving into smaller secondary markets or areas where you're not familiar. Having good contractors in markets that you're not locally in is a very, very tough one. This is where most people get burned. The numbers on pen and paper look good. They had a good lender, good numbers on paper, everything's good. All looks okay until they find a bad contractor that takes their money, doesn't finish the job, carrying costs go way up, and then when you finally go out to the property, you find out why it's not selling. You see everything's jacked up. The tile's not laid right. There's different types of drywall and different types of texture, and everything's just messed up. These are things that being in close proximity to your rehabs that you're not going to have so many headaches with as you go start doing deals at a further distance. Contractors take more advantage of you. First of all, I would not let them know that you're not local in that market, and I would just try to manage it from afar. But the more you try to do at a distance from you, the harder it is to find good quality workers, the harder it is to keep on top of them, and the more likely you are to have longer carrying costs and to go back and redo work. Just something to think about. And then also the time loss. Everything's gonna take more time. The farther away it is, if you wanna go inspect the property, it takes time. If you wanna have, trying to find certain workers to work for you, like contractors we were just talking about, it takes more time. You have to call more of them, you have to talk to more people. Everything is gonna take more time, and time is money, guys. I hope you liked today's video. Just a couple quick thought processes to think about as you move into these markets. I'm not telling you not to do it, just to have this into the back of your mind that these are gonna be things that are gonna pull away from the traditional deals that you're doing here. It's more time off your current business, opportunity costs lost here today, trying to figure out how to reinvent the wheel in another market may or may not be the best for you. I hope you liked the video today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.